Hello and welcome back to the Dune Minute Podcast, your place to dive deep, minute by minute, into the cinematic adaptations of Frank Herbert's world of Dune. I'm one of your hosts, Zach.
And I'm John.
All right, we're here, John. It is Thursday. We are smack in the middle of this conversation between Kynes and Paul.
Yep.
So what do you say we get into it? Because I got a lot of notes about this today's minute.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Cool. Yeah. Well, it starts with Kynes kind of belittling Paul a little bit, and it ends
continuing to
because
belittle, at the end of yesterday's minute, Kynes's last question to Paul was, "What don't you understand?"
Yeah, exactly. And it ends with someone noticing something in the background.
Yep.
So let's see how we get from there to here.
From here to there.
Yep. See how we get from here to there.
There we go. We got it. We're learning how to speak today.
That's okay. It's been a long week. So Kynes is continuing. This is so scathing. She's looking at Paul and she says, "You're a lost boy hiding in a hole in the ground."
Which isn't true. Or which isn't not true.
Yeah.
Because they did find Paul and Jessica coming out of a hole in the ground.
It's like, yeah, she's technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Yep.
We know this. But also the Fremen who are kind of around, where they're just like, well, fuck me then. Right? Hey, it's we live in holes too.
But are the Fremen lost though?
That's
They're
true.
not.
It's true. And if she better not be disrespecting the hobbits. They live in holes in the ground.
No, she's throwing mass shade at Stanley Yelnats, though.
His name is
Zero.
His name is spelled the same frontwards and backwards.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That was the plot twist in that book.
Whoa. Shout out
Anyways.
to Holes.
Yeah. God,
It was a summer reading book, I think, for me, like from 6th to 7th grade, I think, or something.
I was
like
trying to think. I thought I was, that would make sense. I think I was in like 5th grade or something.
Maybe it was 5th to 6th. It was like early middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good book.
Great book. Shout out to Holes.
Shout out to Shia LaBeouf. Kind of a weird dude, but you know, you're going to be when you're a child star.
Yeah, that's true. So as soon as she says, "You're a lost boy hiding in a hole in the ground," my mind immediately flashed to the Michael Jordan. And I took that personally. Because right after this, you see Paul kind of look at her and he like gets on his Kwisatz Haderach shit fast.
Yeah, he goes real fast into his like fucking kind of trancy state and shit. Yeah. He's just like, his only response is, "The Fremen speak of the Lisan al-Gaib."
Yeah, just straight into it. And that's when Jessica's like, careful,
chill the fuck out, homie.
Yeah, because you don't want to push this too far, too fast.
Right.
Which is certainly what it feels like Paul's doing.
But yeah, and then Paul continues after Jessica tries to tell him to chill the fuck out. "The voice from the outer world who will lead them to paradise." Kynes' response, which I thought was interesting, was just superstition.
Yeah. But not a very strong conviction on that superstition word.
No, like it's definitely like it's just like an old wives' tale kind of thing.
Well, I took it as she does not believe it's superstition. She's just saying that to try and
that's what I mean. It's like, oh, it's not real.
Okay.
Like not like, yeah, that's bullshit.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Because it certainly looks like Paul struck a chord when he said that.
Speaking, he just goes right for the kill shot here, where he then says, "I know you loved a Fremen warrior and lost him in battle. I know you walk in two worlds and are known by many names. I've seen your dream. As Emperor Dr. Kynes, I could make a paradise of Arrakis with the wave of my hand."
Yeah.
So
let's unpack this.
He just goes right into like her past and is like, "Try me, bitch."
Yeah. So let's unpack all that for a second.
Yeah.
So as I said yesterday, the book Kynes is a man. I looked up and down for any kind of references to Fremen warrior lost in battle kind of thing as it related to Kynes. I could not see anything.
Sure.
So I believe this is movie lore only, which is fine. Whatever.
It does its job of doing what Paul does, which is reaching into Kynes' past.
Yeah.
And pulling out some shit that Paul would not have known otherwise.
Yep.
To say,
I'm not fucking around.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, exactly. We've often equated the Bene Gesserit to being like just really good cold readers.
Yep.
I made a point to say this is some not so cold reading. What Paul's doing. So like he's saying things that he should have no way of knowing.
Yep.
Second thing he says to her is, he knows that she walks in two worlds and is known by multiple names. So up until this point, the movie is not really explained this, but if you're reading the book, you would have known by now that the Fremen often go by multiple names.
Yeah. We do see it in part 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's very explicitly spelled out then. I thought this was like a really cool shot, or like reference back to the fact that when Paul asks Kynes, right when they first met, "Are you Fremen?" and her response is, "I'm accepted in both Siege and Village."
Yeah.
I think
millions of Sieges.
Yeah. I think this is a cool like a callback to that. Walks in two worlds, both Siege and Village. Having multiple names, the multiple names part, I think, is a possible nod to the books, where we do have that distinct separation between the name Liet and the name Kynes.
Yep.
Maybe not intentional, but it is kind of a good reference to that. With as meticulous as this movie is, if that is a reference, it probably was intentional.
Yeah. It was definitely a "Hey, book readers, we see you" kind of
yeah, exactly
line that was thrown in there.
Yep. Jessica is looking impressed and also scared at Paul, or maybe nervous. Scared is probably not the right word. Maybe it's like nervous, cautious, I guess.
So with that, like, obviously Jessica knows what the Kwisatz Haderach is and everything, but I'm wondering if she like is still taken aback by just like how much Spice has changed Paul, and like she wasn't expecting it to be this drastic or whatever. And bearing in mind too, this is not full Kwisatz Haderach. This is not Paul's final form. No,
it's not. And I'm not even sure that they know what to expect.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like there was like a, hey, by the way, when the Kwisatz Haderach is here, this is what he's going to be able to do exactly. They just know that he is a mind that is capable of seeing into the past and the future.
Yeah.
But like what it does to actually change a person,
I don't think they know.
Yeah.
They go as far as to say that in the books. Like he says, like, I'm an unknown thing to them. Like they don't know how to deal with me. Or in so many words, he says something like that. So yeah. And then the last thing, he's seen her dream, and as emperor, he can make a paradise of Arrakis with a wave of his hand.
Yep. Yeah. I love during this too. Like Paul's just like, so as he's kind of talking to Liet Kynes in this moment, like he's almost kind of got this like glazed look in his eyes and whatever. And like, he's just like kind of waving his hand as he's talking about just like, make a paradise of Arrakis with a wave of my hand. Just like very like,
it's like a sales pitch almost,
but also like being done from a trance.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was interesting.
He's certainly confident in himself at this moment.
Confident is definitely the word that that you could use for Paul in this moment.
And Kynes, this is the moment where I think Kynes fully makes the shift.
Yeah.
From being kind of a skeptical, standoffish person to being full, most of the way, if not fully, in the Atreides camp.
Oh shit! This motherfucker is the Lisan al Gaib.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just looking at him like, it looked like an astonished look to me.
Yeah.
Just really, really impressed and taken aback, and just doesn't know really what to say, because it doesn't really say anything. Or at least we don't get to see or hear what she says after this.
Because we
cut away.
We cut back to the Nexus.
Yep.
And we cut to everyone's favorite spit coffee.
Yes.
It's worth noting that the Fremen, as they're like taking their cup out from underneath where the coffee is draining from, in this what was the name of the
jet boil?
The jet boil, yeah. They're doing it between drops of water, so they're not wasting anything. But Kynes' skepticism of Paul and the Atreides is not just her own.
Oh, yeah.
Because we see this from the Fremen speaking amongst themselves in this case, and they're speaking in Jacobsa. One of them asks, "Do you really think he's the Mahdi?" And the other says, "He looks young to me."
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the Mahdi a little bit.
Yeah.
From the Dune Wiki, shout out to the Dune Wiki editors. They're real ones. This is Arabic for, and there's I think a couple different meanings or translations to this, but the one that I think is the most fitting right here is the deliverer.
Yep.
Is one of the translations that I saw. The criteria for this person, or this Mahdi, is pretty short. Honestly, it's really kind of a short criteria to fit this to fit this role.
Pulse check.
I mean, kind of. So off-worlder is the first criteria, and then child of a Bene Gesserit. And that's about it. So if you can fit those.
Once again, Bene Gesserit are just keeping their, their prophecies very vague to just kind of be filled by anyone.
Yep. At some point, I think this is later on in the book, but it's not a part of the movie that we've seen. It's written that Jessica notes that the presence of the Mahdi legend is peculiar to her.
Okay.
She knows it's part of the Bene Gesserit like teachings and Missionaria Productiva, but apparently this way of manipulation that the Bene Gesserit do is something that is only reserved for like very, very harsh cultures where where the Bene Gesserit may have to come in and assume total control.
Got it.
So it's not something that happens in every like culture that they have to ingratiate themselves into. Like if they have this level of, I mean,
ones that they know that are going to have a significantly more resistance to Bene Gesserit influence than others.
Yeah. So they're talking. Paul looks too young to one of them to be this person, but then again, what is he supposed to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. There's no. Yeah, it's going to be like a 24-ish year old dude.
Yeah.
His name's going to be Steve.
With a prophecy that vague, anyone could fit, it could apply to almost anyone.
Yeah.
It's, or not almost anyone, but it's very broad.
Someone here have a family member that died in the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the music kind of fades out right here, and we see one of the Fremen. His attention is broken from the spit coffee, and he kind of just looks over his shoulder very quizzically.
It's an older man too.
Yeah.
Which I think is deliberate. and I say that because as all of us are getting older, we're losing our hearing, we're losing our sight and stuff like
what?
What?
Huh?
Yeah. But the fact that like this man's, attention is still like he's super capable of hearing something.
Yeah.
So much so that it's not him, but there's another Fremen off camera that is shushing everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They're all just like, it's like when your cat is asleep and then suddenly wakes up and is like kind of looking around.
Yeah, they can. Their senses are still like super acute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out.
And our minute ends with the shushing.
Yep, it does. So let's check in, see where we're at in the books. So at this point, Paul is still kind of in the middle of vying for Kynes' loyalty, basically. Yeah. Paul knows that he needs needs their help, and he also knows that Kynes does not respect him at all. So it's following pretty closely to what just happened.
Whack. His gear, whack.
Yeah.
The way that he puts on a still suit, whack.
Paul, he brings up the same plan. So that's interesting that really nothing changed from the plan from the book to the plan from the movie. They mentioned the Landstrat a little bit more, and some other like legalese kind of stuff, just because they're again approaching this from a legal standpoint.
Everyone's favorite movie, legal standpoints.
Paul's got big my dad's a lawyer and he'll sue you energy right now. And so Kynes is like, or he's talking to Kynes, and when he says the thing of, I will, make Arrakis a paradise with a wave of my hand or whatever.
Yeah.
That actually kind of offends Kynes. He's like, how? Yeah, I don't understand how you would think that my loyalty's for sale. So he took it as a bribe, pretty much. This kind of causes Paul to be introspective for a second, and he actually apologizes. He says, you're right. Sorry, that's not what I meant. Let's, let me say it a different way.
Yeah.
And that really impresses Kynes, because Harkonnens would never have done that. And he says as much. He's like, Harkonnens would never have done that. It's big of you to apologize. And Paul just gets a little jab at the Harkonnens. He goes, maybe it's a problem with their education.
You mean to tell me that Harkonnen education isn't the apex of learning in this Imperium?
So he goes on to clarify, like, that's not what he meant. And when he said, I have the coin to buy your loyalty.
Yeah.
What he meant, the coin, quote unquote coin that he was referencing, is his own loyalty. So he wants to show Kynes his loyalty, and to him, that means I will die for you if I need to. And that's what I want to give to you in exchange for your loyalty and backing us up in front of the Congress, effectively.
Yeah.
And this really impresses Kynes. Like, this is that last moment of like, okay, this guy's the real deal. He doesn't have to be doing any of this. Like, he's legit. And the internal monologue from Jessica's thoughts is basically like, I don't understand these fucking Atreides guys, how they're so good at this. Like, just immediately like being so damn charming. Because that apparently, I guess Leto had that same ability of just, really winning people over.
Yeah.
So this is
Leto spec high into charisma.
Yeah, exactly. So she's noticing that Paul is really, just fitting right into Leto's shoes as Duke in that manner.
Yeah.
So like I said, this really impressed Kynes, and this was kind of the final thing that won him over. And he does call him sire in a very earnest manner after this. So it's kind of the indication that, okay, his attitude's changed, it's shifted. And
look at that. We're all growing together.
Exactly. Kynes is the newest official member of the A-team. So,
Kynes is going to have a really long and tenured time in the A-team.
I can't wait to see all of the good things that they get to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last little bit of this this book scene I'll save for tomorrow, but that's all I got. So any other notes from your end?
Nothing else for today. Tomorrow's episode is going to be a I think one of our shorter episodes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
I'm going to be honest with you. But that's fine because tomorrow's Friday and, give you a little something to end your week with.
Yeah.
So
we should all have short work weeks on Friday.
A whole week on Friday.
Short work days on Friday. That's what I meant, you fucking asshole. You knew what I meant. All right, cool. Well, we will be back tomorrow. If you'd like to reach out to us, we are on Instagram at The Dune Minute. We are on Twitter at Dune Minute. And you can send us an email, and that email address is duneminute@gmail.com.
You did it.
I did it. That's the second time I've done it. All right, cool. We will be back tomorrow. See you.
See you later.